As Ken Kraetzer at West Point for Sons of American Legion Radio, I get a chance to talk with one of the Army senior football players, Joe Walker. And Joe, good to see you. How was Thanksgiving? I heard you got a chance to go home to Georgia.
Yes, I did. I went home. Got to see a lot of family and friends. It was an awesome experience. A small break from football and just from West Point in general. So it was a nice little break, but it's back to the grind.
Absolutely. You've been out here practicing this week. It's had some rain the last couple of days, and I got a nicer evening. What are some of the things that you work on this stage? You're still 10 days out to the Navy game.
Just focus on the fundamentals. Nothing different than we do every week for each game. Just preparing on the fundamentals and just being perfect with our assignments and techniques while we're on the field.
Absolutely, and big night just before Thanksgiving for all the Army, all the West Point seniors, branch assignment night. And I understand you took a combat arms role. Just tell us a little bit about your selection for the Army branch.
I did. I got my first choice, which was infantry. I was really excited about it. I think there was 7 guys out of the senior class that got infantry, and we have 3 other guys at FA, and then we have a signal, and then one guy did Javon won ordnance. So I think all the seniors were happy with their branches, and I was especially happy with mine.
That's great. Now, is there a reason you chose infantry? Some of the players tell me that it's the closest to being on a team when you're in an infantry unit.
Absolutely. I mean, the Army itself is a team. But this summer, I went to CTLT down to Fort Bragg. I was with an infantry unit, so I got to work with a lot of those guys and the kind of people there. And it felt like I was back in the locker room. They have their own form of locker room. They strap up their helmets a little bit differently. They use a little bit of different equipment, but it felt like I was with another football team, and it just felt like home.
Absolutely. And tell us a little bit now, as a senior, we've seen you have some terrific games for Army. I think of that night at Yankee Stadium against Connecticut when you really had a big day. What have been some of the highlights for you in your Army football career?
Definitely the UConn game. Eastern Michigan was a big game at a long run, and then just any win we've had here, especially this season. Just all 6 wins, the big ones, UTEP, Lafayette. Those games, those are really fun. When the offense is doing well and you put up a lot of points. But even the closer games, it was a tougher fight. Like the first couple of games, Temple and Rice. Those games were also fun as well. But any game that we won throughout my career it's been a ton of fun. The Army football team knows how to celebrate once we get back in that locker room after a big win.
Yeah, we've seen that. That's great when you sing "Brave Old Army Team" as a group. It's a neat moment. We hope you have a couple more chances on that. Now, the Navy game is something different. One of the biggest rivalries in college football. Sometimes there's a lot of emotion involved. The coach always says it's about execution. How do you work with some of the younger players on the team and tell them about how to prepare to play in the Army-Navy game?
From my experience playing as a young player, I think that was my first start was Army-Navy my sophomore season. So I just tell them, hey, it's a big game. It's just a bigger crowd. It's a lot of hype before the game. But, after that first cut block, that first, carry you get after that first hit, it turns into another football game. And all that matters is, those guys on the sideline and what's happening between those lines, and it's just another football game for them. So I'll tell them, don't be too nervous, don't overthink it. Just execute your fundamentals. Play the game and have fun. You'll be fine.
Okay. And, Joe, just tell us, what's your academic major here at West Point?
I'm a system design and management major. It just primarily focuses on engineering. It falls under systems engineering. So we learn how to create systems and better how to optimize, the efficiency within systems in different categories and disciplines.
Well, I was with the author, Tom Friedman of the New York Times, and he just wrote a book about all the innovation of 2007. And he'd think you had a very appropriate major here at West Point. Now, is there a highlight to your time at West Point between football and your academics and your military? Is there a single moment or something about your experience at West Point that's been really stood out for you?
It's just kind of been first year as a whole, this whole first semester. You kind of see all the things that you worked for so long that just seem so far away, from prep school year to my plebe year, seeing ring weekend, branch night, things of that nature, and then you kind of closing that final chapter on your football career. It's been a fun run, and I feel like that's just the most exciting part to me is, to finally see all the things, all the strings kind of come together and everything I put in work for, throughout these 4 years. It's all coming together at the end, and we're having a successful season. Got more wins than we've ever had before. We got a chance to go play in a bowl game. Now it's time to just cap it off and beat Navy.
Absolutely. Well, Joe Walker, we just want to say how great it's been to watch you grow, watch you play, watch you advance, and now to take that responsibility as an infantry officer in the U.S. Army. Great to see. So best wishes from all of us at the American Legion.
Thank you.
Our pleasure. Joe Walker, senior on the Army football team. This is Ken Kraetzer for Sons of the American Legion Radio at West Point.